welcome to another episode of the Boot Camp. And I'm joined today by Richard Cowan, CFO of Cannabis Science Incorporated. Thanks for joining me today, Richard.
Good to be here.
So I wanted to talk to you about your publicly traded company, Cannabis Science Incorporated. First of all, publicly traded, that means it's a federal level stock. How can you possibly have a federally traded cannabis corporation?
Very carefully. Actually, what we're doing is legal.
What are you doing?
Well, the company's position is sort of unique in the sense that it is between the medical marijuana world and the pharmaceutical cannabis world. The chief executive officer of the company is Dr. Robert Mellamede, who is on the faculty of the biology department. He's a retired chairman of the biology department at the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. Dr. Mellamede is recognized as one of the world's leading experts on the endocannabinoid system and all the different effects of cannabis and the specific cannabinoids on the human body. But he is also a patient. He is a long-time activist and opponent to marijuana prohibition. We are explicitly, as a company, in favor of legalization of marijuana. This is not something where we are going to do something where we're going to try to keep marijuana prohibition around so that we can take a pharmaceutical markup on products. We think that cannabis, ultimately, most cannabis products should be sold over the counter. Certainly they're safer than aspirin or acetaminophen, which kill thousands of people every year. Mm-hmm. So this is something that we are basically working with both patients on the one side and who are involved with medical marijuana, and with scientists, academics who are looking at where the hard science can come in at this and analyze how do we make products that are consistent, in terms of quality, the way that any medical product needs to be. In other words, that it is drawn from a standardized cannabis strain, and that it is handled in certain ways where you have a cannabinoid level that is known, and obviously purity as well. Right. So you're not having anything in there that you don't want, but you're also sure of what exactly is there, and then is in some sort of product that is actually non-smoked.
Right.
That how can this help patients? How can it be absorbed? Whether it would be a cream or a lozenge or something that to be taken, eaten or drank. This sort of thing. These are the kinds of things that where we can bring together what's happening in the medical marijuana world into the pharmaceutical cannabis world.
Well, for a long time, my impression of pharmaceutical cannabis was trying to get all of the psychoactive elements out of the cannabis and just trying to get a very, very base cannabinoid or THC medicine that helped the patients, but they really, really wanted to subtract the psychoactive element that is, what that makes the medicine so popular. What's Cannabis Science position on keeping the psychoactive substance inside, or are you taking that out as well?
Well, no. First off, there are cannabinoids that are not psychoactive that can have medically valuable properties, it would appear. So that is, it isn't. The question is not whether or not it gets somebody high. The question or not is, does it help the patient? And THC, which is the principal psychoactive ingredient, will make people very high. There is, of course, the marinol, which is a synthetic THC, which is in class Schedule 3 rather, which is basically the same place where codeine and Tylenol is. It's something that can be very easily prescribed by doctors. But patients complain that just the pure THC makes them too high. Well, the objective here, most people who have serious medical problems, getting high is not a problem for them. Quite often, a lot of patients I know who can use very, very large quantities of cannabis and not on the other hand, the idea, oh, we don't want the patients to be feeling euphoric after they've been through cancer chemo. We want them to be depressed or something. I mean, this is the silly thing about this, is that euphoria is not an undesirable side effect for everybody.
Sure.
I mean, obviously the people are not going to want to be really high under certain circumstances, but if somebody has serious medical problems, the idea that that this might make them high, make them happy, is not something we have a problem with.
If marijuana was rescheduled to not be a Class 1 drug, would that help your business, or do you believe that only complete legalization?
Oh, it would help our business to have cannabis moved down in the schedule, so that it is less, sold in a less restrictive way. But I really think that from a company point of view, but more especially from the patient point of view, that only full legalization is going to make it possible for patients to get what they need when they need it. Dr. Lester Grinspoon, who wrote a number of books, but most notably Marijuana, the Forbidden Medicine, at the end, published I think in '93. But at the end of that book, he argued that effectively that only full legalization would make it possible to have the full medical benefits of cannabis. And there are a lot of different reasons for that. One is that the law simply is not set up to handle plants. That is, the pharmaceutical regulatory system is aimed at regulating molecules and this sort of thing. And
just wait till they find strains, right?
Yeah, exactly. But another part of it is, unfortunately, is that the law enforcement simply refuses to obey the law. So that what has happened is that with medical marijuana, rather than the law enforcement come in and say, how can we make this work, is their approach to it is, how can we block this at all costs? So if law enforcement will not obey the law, then trying to carve out loopholes for medical marijuana, I describe medical marijuana laws as simply bad loopholes and bad laws. And then finally, unfortunately, the medical profession has totally disgraced itself by its refusal even to look at medical cannabis for a long time. And so now the AMA has finally, hooray, they have acknowledged that maybe there's some medical value to cannabis, and maybe we should look at it after all. And last year, the American Academy of Physicians and Surgeons discovered the 1999 Institute of Medicine report and issued a favorable report on the basis of a 9-year-old report, which they had somehow managed to discover. So, point being is the medical profession has disgraced itself, and so the idea that while obviously if a doctor says a patient should be able to have marijuana, the government shouldn't be standing in the way.
Right.
But on the other hand, I do not want to have to ask a doctor's permission to use a plant. I'm pushing 70, and the idea that I need anybody's permission to use a plant, to me, I find increasingly offensive. That's another aspect of it. But I think that full legalization is going to be the way. There will still be a need for medical grade marijuana, and there will definitely be a market for a standardized pharmaceutical cannabis products. But patients come first. That's really is the thing, and only legalization will serve the interest of the patients.
Well, thank you, Dick. For the people out there that want to find Cannabis Science, what's the stock ticker?
Oh, CBIS, Cannabis, CBIS, and it's traded in the over-the-counter market.
Thanks for joining me, Dick.
You got to be here.